I've got 15 minutes. I had prepared a slide which I will talk through so that we all engage. But my topic today is, we're leading through diversity and inclusion, and I want to spotlight and highlight tech women and youth on boards. Okay. As our previous speaker has spoken, is that we have, yes, thank you, Elang. You look radiant. Yes, it's makeup and concealer. I'm trying, guys. She has said that we've had, we've been voting, we've been having seminars, etc., etc. We've been toying, and we've been saying that we want inclusion. And we've seen that the politics, particularly in our country, they have led the diversity and inclusion. If you look at our parliament consists of 47% of women currently today. But where is the challenge? The challenge is also in our private sector. The boards that are contributing to our Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and also NGO and some of the public entities within our country. So we don't see that diversion and inclusion of women in our boards. And the reason why I want to spotlight this, it's because a lot of decisions that end up impacting women are made at board level. So I don't know where my presentation is, if Tinyiko is going to display it for us, but I can talk you through how, as limit breakers, we have identified this gap. And this is the message and the commitment that I've made through the board that I'm serving in San Francisco with women leaders of the world, to say, we are going to create our own seats in the boardroom. So the reason why we've aligned ourselves with How Women Lead in San Francisco, because they were the pioneers that were able to lead the state of California to make it legislation and law, right? That every board in California should have a woman representative, okay? And we don't have that in our country as yet. And when I went to Berlin to take the same message, I was told that that is the case as well, that women would be only in executive roles or middle management roles, but they still have a challenge of having a representation of women and youth on boards, okay? So let's bring this message here. Let's start to have more credible women again on boards. So if you look at, this is a Girl Code Global Summit. If you look at how traditional boards were previously orchestrated, there would be legal representatives, there would be audit committees, there would be HR committees, etc., etc. But if you're looking at how boards should be, boards should have technology as one of the strategic committees within the boards. Now, some organizations in the private sector have been able to manage that. But we are in a position of transition within our country, where if you look at how boards, and I do a lot of consulting in my private companies, where there's going to be a board meeting and they don't have a skilled technology or a tech woman to be able to guide them on their technology decisions, I'm usually sitting with the COO outside, coming out all the time to say, what does this mean? The board wants to know this. So I'm saying that we need to have women on boards. We need to have tech women on boards, and we need to have youth on our boards for legacy purposes. So how are we going to do this? Last year, we did a pilot. We had 50 women, about 30 from Gauteng and about 55 women from KZN. And we did a reality-based board governance training. And this was done online through Zoom. So a lot of people started using Zoom, and they were actually thanking me to say, you know what, you've introduced us into Zoom. So these were senior women, executive, others are CEOs, CIOs that came to join us in this journey. And they then graduated last year. And then I realized through the lessons learned that we were meeting on Thursday evenings, and for safety and us playing different roles of being mothers, sisters, wives, etc., etc. Sometimes it was challenging because the classes were between 6 to 10 o'clock in the evening. So we have then designed a scaled learning tool for women on boards. We are going to launch it in September, if you look at my second slide. And how are we meeting the gap that we have? So for a scaled learning tool, it means that you can be anywhere and you'll still be able to do this program online at the comfort of your home, in your mobile device, and then you would still get the same information as if you were sitting in the class. Master classes. So we've gone to look for industry leaders. Our first masterclass we hosted with Techno, who's the CEO of the Altron Group, and we hosted in both KZN and Gauteng. But what that does, it limits a person who's in Cape Town, who's in Kenya, who is in Uganda that would like to be part of this. So through the scaled learning tool, you'd be able to still get the same content, whether you are there live on those master classes or not. The second master class that we're going to have, we are having it with the Commissioner of the Public Sector. We also have different women, you know, that have led in boards, old and the new, that will be part of these master classes. The next step that we are doing board placements. Currently, I've just submitted a few candidates, and some are youth candidates, to be part of the NSFAS board. So we are deliberate, we are intentional, and we are taking the message of diversity and inclusion of credible candidates to come and sit on our boards. And what we've also, navigating is board apprenticeship. So if you're a senior manager or you're a manager, you have no idea, you know, what it is to sit in a board. We are also encouraging companies to have 1-year board apprenticeships, whether you start serving in a certain committee of a board, because that gives you exposure. So that is still part of our message of being deliberate and of being intentional about diversity and inclusion, particularly on boards. Where do we want to get to? We want to get to legislation. We would like this to be legislated, because until we get to that level, we are playing. So, you know, as part of diversity and inclusion and ensuring that we are equally represented at boards, let's all join these chariots. You know, I'm encouraging you guys to start having this thought process when you see us doing these campaigns and hosting master classes. Ultimately, that's the space we can play. We might not all be able to be in parliament, but we can sit on boards of public sector boards, of private sector boards, where we can influence decisions that will impact our youth, our young girls, and us as women. Thank you. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nokuthula, for that encouragement and also bringing light as to how we need to serve on different boards. You know, it's something that we definitely do overlook. We sometimes think it's actually too high for us to aim. So yeah, thank you for bringing context and taking the time to speak with us. Everyone is quite inspired by your talk and comments from the crowd. Guys, just a reminder to give our speakers a round of applause, virtual claps, of course. And yeah, and to use the hashtag Global Summit. And thank you so much, Nokuthula. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. And I will leave my details here. You know, should you be interested to be part of the Women on Boards, we are making noise, you know, and I think it's time, guys. I think it's time we take our seats in boards. It's time we are deliberate. It's time we make noise. But the good thing is that we have so much talent. I'm just looking at all the panelists here. There is so much talent and people that are attending here, there is so much talent in South Africa. There's so much talent globally of women, you know, that can serve on these boards. Just CMO International was also looking for candidates, you know, that can look at their interest within South Africa. I get calls from the US when people want to establish an African footprint and they look for someone that can sit on boards. But let's make sure that those people are also trained so that we don't take people that will not represent us well. So invest your time and your efforts and network, because boards are also about deliberate networking. Otherwise, you'll be left behind. Thank you so much, Global Girl Code, and I'm so honored to be in this platform.